So here we are. So you're all settling in, just finding your samsthiti, your even standing pose. And bending your knees, feeling your feet and looking at your feet, something we don't do very much. And inhale, straighten the legs and pull up on the kneecaps if that's comfortable. Now, when you're doing this, if you notice you can't engage one side the same as the other, might not have that awareness. It took me a while to get there, but if you can feel that right away, like one side, it's like, oh, I can't engage that. You can try stepping that side you can't engage, just step it back a bit and go, oh, wow, maybe I can engage it. Now that can be a discrepancy of leg length. And that really affects the hips and the feet. So I just encourage you to just feel your legs, feel your feet, and pull up on the kneecaps. And if one side's not really working very well, just change where it is, maybe back a little bit, create some more space. Exhale, feel the bottoms of the feet, the weight of the feet. Now feel the ankles. One ankle might feel a little different than the other. Inhale, straightening. So this is developing interoception, the ability to feel our body within ourselves. And this is all about extending the mind into the body, pulling up as you inhale, exhale, bend. Now looking down, we're going to add the upper back. Inhale, arms to the side, opening. And exhale, gathering in to the belly. This is one of our three brains right here at the gut. Inhale, opening. It's called the enteric nervous system. Exhale, gathering. The yogis call it the nabi point at the belly button. Inhale, opening. Maybe starting to lift the head. And exhale, gathering. Just do this in your own time, just arriving on the mat. I usually start something like this just to check in with my body, my breath. Start lengthening that exhale as a first step. Inhale, bending the knees on the exhale. First was inspired to do this working with a physio when I had a hip injury a number of years ago, 5 years ago. And I learned that adding that bending of the knees is very balancing for the hips. So I started really adding that to my classes. And then I also learned that it also helps us to ground. You can feel your feet more when you do that. It's also tracking of the knees. So we're working from the hips down to the feet now. We start bringing the arms higher. I'm going to bring my feet even at this point. Exhale, hands to the heart. This is another big area of cognition, awareness. It's at the heart. Inhale, has its own nervous system. Inhale, arms at the sides. Exhale, gathering your awareness back to the heart. So I like to visualize the sun here. Inhale, the rays of light, all directions. Maybe adding a little light to any area of darkness in your awareness. And exhale, gather up that light back to its source, deep within you. Inhale, opening, expanding. And exhale, connecting to the source of all that is, that you are part of. Inhale, opening. Exhale, gathering. Hands at the heart, perhaps in Anjali Mudra or another gesture of connecting to your heart. Might be crossing the hands. Putting one hand perhaps at the heart, the other at the gut. Linking the head, the heart, and the gut together in one line, down and up. Making an intention today for this lower hand center, the hips. So may my hips be pain-free. It could be that. It could have something to do with emotions. This is an area where we feel our emotions a lot in our life. May I experience emotional freedom, or may I let go of a particular emotion that's blocking me. And when you're ready, feet together if that's comfortable. Inhale, arms at the sides, coming all the way up, perhaps overhead. If this is too much on your shoulders, you can bend the elbows like this or have the arms at the side any height. Otherwise, perhaps palms together, stretching up. I interlock my thumbs to help me stretch up a little bit more. And then exhale, coming down. Now, as you come down, squeeze into the inner thighs and focus your awareness on your hips as you exhale. Inhale on the neck and shoulders. Inhale. Stretching out. This can be really helpful for shoulder injuries. Stretching out, spreading those fingers apart for arthritis in fingers, wrists. And exhale, coming down. Pulling up from the pelvic floor to the belly button, squeezing those thighs. Now doing this in your own timing, that was a pretty long breath I was showing. You can also add, to increase your awareness, a block or small pillow between the thighs if that feels comfortable. Really change the feeling of your hips as you do this. This is obviously more about strength. This can also help the knees. Feels quite different. I find a little harder on my ankles. Can't get as high, but definitely works those inner thighs. So just keep that going. And if you want to bring in a visualization, you can visualize sweeping through the radiance all around you like a circle, radiating out of the light at the heart. And something I learned this trip to Chennai is keeping the weight a little bit forward if you tend to do this, which is what I do with my body. So if that's you, depending on the shape of your body, if you have a lot of sway back, it might be helpful to come a little bit forward to keep your back more neutral. So that was a really helpful suggestion my teacher, Mr. Sridhar, gave me, and I wanted to pass that on. You can play with. Now you might be ready to stay at the top. And here, we're going to play with the whole body here. I'm going to interlock the fingers, palms facing up. Exhale, heels down, stretch the palms away. Stretch the whole spine. And inhale, come up. So that's one option. The other one, exhale, bring the palms to the top of the head and draw the shoulders down as you bring the heels almost to the ground, but not all the way down. And then inhale, come up. So you can pick whichever one works for your body. I'll keep showing both. Exhale, palms up, stretch away, stretch the whole spine. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, palms to the top of the head, drop the shoulders down and bring the heels down a little bit, halfway down. And inhale, stretch the whole spine from the middle back to the upper back. Let's do that one more time. You can do both with me or just one. Exhale. Heels coming down, stretch away, stretch away, stretch away. Slightly forward probably. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, palms down. Heels halfway down, draw the belly in, drop those shoulders down. And inhale, come up. This is so strengthening for the ankles too. You might be able to feel that. And exhale, release. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls, pull up on those thighs. Hug in to that block if you have it, and just stay here and feel that work. So pulling up, squeezing in. Exhale, try to stay there, and maybe lift your toes up. Maybe root just the big toe down. If you can separate your toes, that's kind of fun to play with. You can feel the whole inner leg line when you do that, from the big toe up to the pelvic floor, up to the belly button, down the other side. It's a loop. I call it the moolah line, the root. It's your roots into the earth. So I think of the earth as kind of coming to my belly button, and my root is all the way down. So if that's helpful, you can bring in that image of that root. This gives us stability. This gives us the ability to grow up and out and release. And that could be your yoga practice for a day. Just that. So usually, about 10-15 minutes, just that. Okay, we're going to go to the side now. So inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, coming to the side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, other side. Now you can bend that top elbow or not. Let's keep that going. Now, if you want to make this harder, when you come to the center, you can come up on your toes. And this works the hips, the legs, and the ankles, and you can stay up on the toes the whole time if you want. And stick your hip out. So focus the mind on the hips or on the upper back if that's your place. So I put my whole mind on the opposite hip. Now I can come down onto the heels, which I usually do to increase the stretch. So do whatever version you like with the arms, with the legs. Put your mind on the place in your body that you want the prana, the energy, to flow. So prana flows where our attention goes. This is one of the main ways that we work with yoga therapy. Let the body heal itself. Remove blocks for energy to flow. When you're ready, finishing up, release. All right, I said I wasn't going to work you hard, and here I am. Working hard. All right, sorry, that's what happens when I go to India. Inhale, arms coming up. You have to endure. Inhale, arms up. I will stretch it out eventually, I promise. Exhale, we're gonna come to one side and we're gonna balance. So your balance might be here. It might be here. It might be here. This is really helpful, actually. Look at your little screen in Zoom to help you balance, or look at the floor in front of you. So looking at the floor about 6, 8 feet in front of you, and try to align those shoulders, draw the belly in. This is a core strengthening exercise as well. Surprisingly challenging for the core. And keep that going. And after the work we just did, that really helps this. Now, as you exhale, you can focus on drawing your inner thighs together. As you inhale, you can focus on the outer strength of the hip, so this side, as well as the leg that is holding you. So you've got 2 points of strength there. This is also psychologically wonderful to do when you're feeling a bit uptight, when you're feeling a bit stuck, when you're feeling kind of stuck in some heaviness. Lighten it up. This is like going to a playground. Balancing side to side. All right. And exhale, hands through the center. Maybe remembering that intention. Your intention just could be balance, for example. Freedom, letting go. And something in particular, it's helpful to have something in particular in your mind. We're going to go further into the hips now. We're going to cross, first of all, your left leg behind the right. Now, if you know you have an injury or something, you can start with your easy side, go to your hard side. If you want to work more on your side that's rehabbing, you can start with that side, go to the other side, and then go back to your rehab side. So I'll give you those options. Hope that made sense. Inhale, I'm just showing classically the left leg behind first. Inhale, center, exhale, coming to the side. Now you can bring one arm down, you can hold opposite elbows, or you can go to the wall, and I've shown this before, and really press into the wall, and you'll get an even deeper stretch. I like this one because it gets into the hip and upper back, which for my body really works well, but take your medicine. And if it's too much, you can inhale here and exhale here. If staying there is too much, you can inhale and exhale. You can do this in the center of the room, or you can just stay here. Breathing here. Should be warm for this area. You're focusing on the hip, really stick the hip out. And when you're ready, release. It is much harder work to stay in a pose and to move usually. Other side, right foot behind left. Inhale, arm coming up, exhale, release. There you go. I think I said the feet wrong, but hopefully you did it right. So it's the same foot behind as your arm moving. I think I might have confused you on the other side, but hopefully you figured it out. You could cross the other way, but I usually do it this way. Gives you more room to move. And you can stay in the position. focus your mind on the part of your body in need. For those with scoliosis, one side might be your hip, the other your upper back. And when you're ready, release. Okay. All right, so we've got a chair. You don't have to use a chair, but a chair is a nice place to relax a little bit. We're going to do a forward bend with the chair. So I'm just going to step back, spinal stretch. My hands are on the back of the chair. I've got the chair at the wall just for a bit of safety. And then in this position, drawing your hips side to side, you'll get into the side body and the hip as you exhale. Inhale, center, exhale, side. This was taught to me by my Iyengar yoga teacher. Beautiful modification. You can always try bending the knee at the side you're going to get a bit more into the hip. I know a lot of you are gardeners and the hips are really key for gardening. We use them a lot. You can go a little lower. So I've got a blanket on the back of my chair just so I don't wreck my wall. It's quite different when you bring your hands down. I like the hands up better. When you're ready, just stay here and breathe. For upper back, neck, and shoulders, you can inhale, look up, press your hands down, exhale, bend your knees and feel the lower back. Inhale, look up, press the hands down. Exhale, bend the knees, track the knees over the second toes, little toe, side of your foot parallel if that works for your legs. Most important thing is knees tracking forward, whatever that is for your legs and your bones. Inhale. There's a variety in how the bones of the legs are, so just be mindful of that. And release. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of a break. Okay, so we're going to do a forward bend with one foot behind the other. You're welcome to do this at the chair or without. I'm going to show the chair first. So left foot behind right. I'm just going to mirror. So I'm going to switch to the front in a minute. Inhale, arms coming up. And exhale, forward bend. And when you come forward and you're using a chair, bring your forehead to the chair. You can always add a block or two or a pillow to bring your head to. And that can feel really nice. We can do something like that. Inhale, coming up. I think I'm going to keep with this version today myself because it just works differently than the full version. Exhale, forward. And inhale, coming up. So you're probably feeling a stretch in the hip where the foot is behind. You might want to start on your easy side, then go to your hard side. You're going to hold after exhale if that's comfortable for you. If you have blood pressure issues where holds after exhale are not an option, you can skip that. Otherwise, hold after exhale, draw the belly in and up and hold. 1, 2. Inhale, coming up. The light is very variable today. You can see me okay. Exhale, forward bend. Hold. 1, 2. Last time. We've done around 6. Hold. 1, 2. Now stay here. Now, as you stay here,
You might want to bring your hands to one side. So towards the foot that's in front, that will get into that hip that's we're working on, the foot that's back, that hip. You'll feel it a bit more. Or you can stay centered. It's just different. And go to the other side, feel the other hip. And when you're ready, coming up. So, yeah, actually, I think when we went to that easy side, we were getting into the other hip, so that's kind of interesting. Okay, now it's saying it cannot access my microphone, but I'm going to assume that you guys are okay. It's asking me to put in my password. I'm going to do this right now. Not sure why it's doing this to me, but hopefully this will work. Great. Can you guys all hear me? Just give me a thumbs up. You can hear me? Yeah, okay. I don't know why Zoom is doing this. All right, good. Let's keep going. So other side. So right behind left. Inhale, arms coming up. And exhale, forward bend. Using the chair if you want. You don't want to use the chair, you just go all the way down. This actually can be easier or harder when you go all the way down. So just play with that. Just do it in your own timing, up and down. Exhale, drawing the belly in, constricting the throat, Ujjayi pranayama. I quite like it with the chair. It gets into the hip in a different way. You can do that hold after exhale. And have the hands on the chair or on the floor. After you've done around 6, just staying at the bottom. If it's too much, you can go into that spinal stretch pose or just rest in samastiti, standing, scanning the body. Or you can keep it moving. Some days it just feels better to keep it moving. It's your choice. This pose was a real game changer for me when I was rehabbing my hip. 2020, my teacher, Mr. Streeter, gave this to me and really started to change my experience of my hip. So when you're ready, coming up, it's definitely a flexibility pose. Come up slowly. If you've got the chair, just use it for support. And notice how you feel. I'm going to add one more light because the light is a little weird today. Let's get a bit more light on the action. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so to balance that all out, we're going to do Utkatasana, chair pose. Now, I'm going to start showing this with the chair, which it seems like really silly, but it's very challenging actually. And this is something, if we can remember to do it, we can do it at our offices, we can do it when we're working at the computer, just as a break. To stand up every 30 minutes, right? Just stand up and do some of this. Exhale. Now be careful, don't miss your chair. So make sure you've got your hands kind of there to start with and make sure you're at the right angle. Just find your place and then inhale up. And exhale, sit down in Utkatasana. Bring your hands forward perhaps. Draw your belly in. And come back. Now, if you've got a knee issue, you might be feeling it about now. You can stagger your feet to help with those kinds of things. The hands forward can really help. Surprisingly hard. That exhale, do it as long as possible. And last time, again, if you've got a pain in one of your knees, just try bringing the foot a bit back and it might take the pressure off and it might be a hip leg length problem. Okay, we're going to do it in the center now. It's called Ardha Utkatasana. This pose is interesting because it can be done as an exhale movement or an inhale movement. It's a kind of a double pose. We're going to do it with our land acknowledgement today. Inhale, arms at the sides. And I want you to visualize a tree on the land that you are on. So perhaps on the very land you're on today, or in a park nearby, or a place you like to hike. Just pick a tree, visualize that tree. I always visualize a big cedar, even though I actually don't have one on my land, but I just bring that in and exhale. I know there's one nearby me. And I exhale and I feel the big trunk of that tree holding me as I hug it, and inhale, opening, feeling the sky, feeling the sun, feeling the air, and exhale, feel the earth, feel the water, feel those elements of the land that you're on. So the earth and the water is more the exhale energy, and inhale is the light, the sun, the air, the wind. The Vedas have an extra element called akasha. It means space. So I think that would be the inhale. Akasha, creating that space, that openness, lining things up, and exhale. So yeah, when life hits you with stuff and you're processing emotions, it can get a bit heavy. So we don't want to bypass it. We don't want to do spiritual, emotional bypass. We want to allow ourselves to feel everything that is, embrace the truth of our experience. But sometimes, to avoid rumination, which is an equally difficult and not very useful mental experience, good to lighten it up. Just lighten it up and do something like this. All right, just finishing up. And notice how you feel. That was a lot of upper back, neck, and shoulders too. See one of you really feeling your upper back right now. I will attend to that. Thank you for that cue. Just feel your feet, feel your legs. And again, feel free to stagger those feet if you're having trouble accessing that. And just feel perhaps that you can feel both feet evenly when you exhale, and both legs evenly as you inhale and pull up on those thighs. Exhale, bend the knees over those second toes, feel both feet evenly perhaps. And inhale, straightening. It's a great exercise to do any time of the day when you feel disembodied, when you're all in your head, just to get your cognition into your whole body.
Okay, all right. Well, we've done a lot already, but we're going to do one more standing set before we hit the deck. I'm going to move away from my mat, so I'm a little closer to you. We're going to do what my yoga therapists in training call the Chennai special because they love it so much. I learned it in 2020 when I was healing my hips, and it's quite a fun vinyasa or combination of poses. Inhale, the arms coming up. Most of you have done this with me before. Inhale, arms coming up. This is for strengthening and opening the hips. Exhale, bringing the left leg up. Now move from the pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, hands halfway down. Really stand on that leg. That's glute med. Inhale, open up the hip. This is also working upper back, neck, and shoulders. I think a few of you have this in your own practice as well. I've given you. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, gather in. Now inhale, kick the leg back. And I learned this trick actually, I'm not supposed to be arching the back. I didn't realize. It's more just bringing the leg back, not doing this, focusing more on the hip coming back. It's a bit different doing it that way. And exhale to your center. So a bit of a refinement there. How I teach that. Inhale, arms coming up. So this was created again by Mr. Schroeder. This is his vinyasa. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, drawing into your center. This is more about that belly button region, the dantian or the navi center. Inhale, opening. And you can look straight ahead or slightly down. Feel that sun and that air and that space energy. Exhale, gathering to the center, feeling that earth and water energy as you exhale. Inhale, feeling the expansive energy, bringing that foot back as you stretch your arms, your hands straight up, lift the leg back, and that strengthens the back of the hip. And exhale, starting position. So that is one round. I'm going to do 3 more as to not completely kill you. You need a break anytime, do a forward bend or use the chair. Just have a seat on the chair and do a forward bend there. Inhale, arms coming up, chin in, palms facing forward. Exhale, pelvic floor, start to exhale before you start to move. Lower belly, belly button in. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, gathering to the center. Inhale, extending back, the arms straight up and the foot back. Feel the back of the hips strengthening. Exhale, starting position. Stand on that right leg as long as possible before you wait on both feet. Inhale, arms coming up. So this is definitely a fall resistance practice. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Really stand on that left foot. Stand on it. Feel like you're pressing that foot down into the earth as you draw up. Inhale, opening that right hip. Feeling the radiant sun coming out of your center. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Inhale, extending back that leg, hands straight up to the sky. Exhale, starting position. 2 more rounds. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left leg up. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Push that right foot down. Inhale, open up. Exhale, gather to the center. Inhale, extend back. Exhale, starting position. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms halfway down. So the leg comes up. Inhale, opening that right leg. Opening your vision, opening your chest, opening your focus. Energy moving out. Exhale, gather energy into the center. Really stand on that left leg. Inhale, extend back. Hands up, extend that foot back, extend up and back. Exhale. Standing on that left leg and then waiting on both. Last time, inhale, arms up. Exhale, I'm just going to cue the breath now. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And rest, samastiti. Notice how you feel. It's very brain balancing, doing that asymmetric movement. One side focus at a time. Opposite side of the brain activating and switching. And often both sides of the brain firing is used, both sides of the body at the same time as well. Switching your focus back and forth. All right, so I'm going to use the chair for this next one to get into the hip. So if you sit in your chair, I'm going to bring mine to the center so you can see me better. I hope you all have a chair. Okay. So you're going to bring your left foot over your right. I'm mirroring you. And you're going to hold the back of the chair like this, holding the two sides of the chair. That makes sense. I'll show a side view later so you can make sure you understand. This is just a great way to get into the hip as well as the neck and shoulders. So we have a sub focus of neck and shoulders today. As per request, inhale, opening the shoulders. So roll the shoulders up and back, elbows facing back. Some of you have done this with me before. And exhale, hinging forward. You're sitting on the edge of your chair, so don't sit back in your chair. Yeah, hinging forward and feel the stretch in your spine and into that hip. Inhale, coming up. Now, if you feel any pain in the knee, make sure that you adjust your foot. Either you could be on the edge of the foot or bring the foot closer to the hip. Adjust that foot until you're comfortable. You could also do this at a chair on a couch with the foot underneath. Something like that. I don't have a couch here, but you can do that as well. Or you can cross the legs. Yes, one of you is showing that. All right, so find what works for your knee. Very important. Do not compromise the knee. The knee is meant to hinge, not rotate. Okay, it doesn't like it. Inhale, and these are super important. Inhale, lifting the chest, elbows back, exhale, coming forward, hinge forward, feel the stretch in your back and in your hip. I'm going to show a side view, keep this going. Do a round while I'm adjusting. You can also sit on a block if your chair is a bit low. I've got long legs, so that helps my body. Inhale, opening. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, hinging forward. Drawing in pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. This is my easy side. We often have one hip that's very different than the other. Inhale, opening, and exhale, forward bend. Just doing that around 6 times. And we're going to switch sides. So this side for me is very different. And you might have a hip like mine, so don't feel bad. It's just called anatomy. Inhale, lifting the chest, exhale forward, and just see where you can get to. So on this side, I'm going to hold my foot to help me just get there a little bit better. Inhale. Really draw the belly in as you exhale. And when you're ready, inhale up, exhale, release the foot, and come into a forward bend. We're going to hold the back of the chair. Inhale, shoulders back, lift the chest. It's wonderful for the neck and shoulders. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Hinge forward, feel the back stretch. Now you can stay here if you want. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, come slightly forward, round the spine. Inhale, lift the chest, extend. Exhale, forward. Or you might be ready to just come into a full forward bend. This is chair Paschimottanasana. You can have one leg or both legs straight as well. This really stretches the lower back, actually better than the classical seated pose, I find. And here you can inhale, lengthen, try to get your rib cage forward on your thighs, and then come forward. Or just stay and breathe. You can go to one side or the other. Go one side of the hip or the other as you go side to side. When you're ready, inhale, coming up. I'm going to move that chair. And now we should be pretty prepared for tree pose. So you can use actually that chair for balance, or you can use a wall. So you can hold on to a wall. You can put your back at a wall. Or you can just stay in the center. You can use a chair in front of you or to your side as well. So I'm just going to show in the center, easier for you to see me. So standing on that right foot, start to bring the left foot up and just start with it right at the ankle. And see if you can open that hip and really stand on that other leg. We've really prepped for this today. Now, can you bring it a little higher above the ankle? Perhaps just below the knee, and that's as far as I'm going to go. Some of you will go to the full pose, which on this side I can do. Assuming my tights let me do it today. Okay, so that's the full pose like that. So some of you might do that. I'm not going to show that. I'm going to show below because my body for my body is much better to work lower down, I've discovered. So if you're like me, feel free to pick a different height. You can have your big toes on the ground for balance as well. Now really focus on pulling up on that standing leg so there is a strength component. So with yoga, we always want to strengthen and soften. Do both. And if you like, add a little core and breath work. Inhale, arms at the sides coming up. Exhale at the center. And anytime you get a little tired, you can just do this. And bring that foot down. Inhale. If you start getting cramped up, that can be helpful to have a little pause. And exhale, you can always put the foot down or stay there. I'm going to stay up. And then maybe stay here. And you can visualize your favorite tree. This is a very old pose in the yoga asanas of India. There's carvings that we can find from before the common era. So, at least 1,000 years old. 1000 BCE, that is. And when you're ready, release. So that one is strength and flexibility. Other side. It's finding your pose. So the toe is going to be on the ground, foot above the ankle, foot below the knee or above the knee at the groin. Really standing on that left leg. Inhale, bring the arms to the side. Feel that radiant sun all around you. Exhale through your Sushumna central channel, top of the head, third eye, throat, heart, power center, emotional center, pelvic floor, legs, feet. Inhale into the heart, into the belly, into the feet. Exhale through the center, top of the head, third eye, throat, heart, power center, emotional center, grounding center, legs, feet. If you like staying at the top, you can release that leg anytime. And try to open, if you stay here, focus the mind on opening that hip, that right hip, and pulling up and down on that standing leg. And when you're ready, inhale, release samasthiti. And exhale, arms coming down. And just a regular forward bend. Inhale, arms coming up front. Exhale, forward bend. You can bend the knees, just really relax the whole body. Inhale, coming up with a long back, and then add the arms at the end. So we're just doing this a little bit more relaxed. As a counter pose, exhale, extend forward, perhaps bring the hands to the thighs right away and release. Inhale, moving just the chest long and then adding the arms.
You can always slide your hands up and down the legs as a counter pose. Exhale, forward bend. If you want to work harder, of course, you can lengthen the spine. Interlock the fingers. I'm going to bring one foot behind the other. Inhale, coming up. Exhale. And then staying at the bottom. And breathing here. Maybe holding those big toes. Maybe holding the calves behind. Maybe bending the knees. Maybe holding blocks. Maybe having your head on the seat of a chair. When you're ready, coming down to the earth. Child's pose if this works for you, or you can lie on your back. And bring your knees to your chest right away. Now the hip variation of this is knees apart. This is something they do in Iyengar yoga a lot. It really gets into the groin. Feel free to do that version. You can have a block or a pillow or a bolster in front of you that you hug. You can bring your arms to one side and then the other to get into one side of the body at a time. And that can help the hips. And I'm putting a fist under my third eye just to connect my forehead to the floor a bit differently. Back to the center if you're not there. And when you're ready, flipping onto your back. It works for you to keep your head the same direction, just flip right over. Otherwise, feel free to do whatever works for your space. If you have a wall handy to put your feet on, that also can be helpful. And having a block and a belt nearby for any modifications. Of course, you can use pillows and scarves and all of that. So just starting with Sukhasana, lying on your back, feeling the floor beneath you. If your lower back hurts with your legs straight, you can always bend them. Okay, and just for fun, we're going to do what we did standing, lying down. So, oh, someone's trying to get in, so just keep that going. Okay. So put that block between, yeah, we're all good. Put that block between the thighs. Oh, and just make sure you're muted. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So putting that block between your thighs and squeezing in. Now you can do this with your legs bent if you prefer. I think we did this last week, but I just want to show with the legs straight. It's just a bit different. So squeezing into the center as you exhale, feel those inner thighs. And inhale, arms overhead, Tadaka Mudra. Now you can have a bolster behind you, a pillow, or just bend the elbows. This is too much on the neck and shoulders to have the palms facing up here. Start to exhale, then start to move. And breathe down. Feel like you're breathing down to your feet as you squeeze that block between your thighs. Notice the effect on your knees as you do that, your hips. Inhale, release that hold as you inhale. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Squeeze the block, feel the feet, feel the energy going down the Apana Vayu. The breath is classically pulling up from the bottom up, but the energy is moving down. So you have that duality there, which is kind of interesting to feel. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Squeeze the block, feel the feet. And last time. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, squeeze the block. Feel the hips, the knees, the legs, the feet, and release. So that's working on strengthening the inner thighs. I'm going to release that. We're going to bend our knees. Put the block between our thighs. So you can use one of those square blocks. You can use a pillow. One of these soft blocks from Half Moon, they're 1.5 pounds. Sometimes I use 2 to add further strength work. So just so you know that, you can use these things as weights. Krishnacharya was known to use books as weights in yoga therapy. So I saw some of that in Chennai, which was fun. And I think of this, Mr. Iyengar took that idea and created this prop. It's kind of like a book. So you can use a book too, if you have one you want to play with. All right, so in this position, your ankles and knees can be aligned, but you can also play if you've got one hip higher than the other, or discrepancy in leg length. You can play having one foot forward or the other. You might want to remove the block if you do that. So I'm going to start with my left foot forward. And inhale, coming up. And I'm going to bring my left arm up. And so this is stretching that left hip and that whole left side. And it's strengthening my right knee and hip. So it's kind of a neat position. Exhale, coming down. I'm stretching my hand away as I come down to create some traction. At the end of the exhale, I bring my palm down. So you can do this with me or just the regular version and squeeze into that block if you like. You could have a block between your legs for this too. You could also have a belt on your thighs that you press out into. That is really good for this particular version. Let's do this in your own time. We're starting with the left, and then we are going to move to the right, so you can feel the difference. If you have scoliosis and you've got some concavity on your lower back, just play with which foot forward feels better. It might not be the compressed side, surprisingly, so just be aware of that. Just going to do one more. Use this in yoga therapy to balance the hips. I'm adding an upper back piece. We're going to switch sides. So I'm working on one side at a time. Now I'm working on the right. The right foot is forward. It's going to strengthen my left knee and stretch the right side. Inhale, lifting the hips up. Now, if you do this and it doesn't feel comfortable, you like the other side, you can go back to that other side. So I usually in my own practice only do the other side, but I'm going to play with this today, see how it feels. Doing it 4 to 6 times, depending on your breath length. Inhale up, exhale down. Lift as high as you can on that inhale. And that front foot you can bring quite far forward. It's also shown with the legs straight. So I'm just going to show that so you can see this. It's quite challenging, but this can be used for working on a compressed hip. I personally like the foot on the ground more. Feeling one side of the hips at a time. Just finishing up. Coming into the center. All right, you take your belt or your scarf. And you're going to make a loop that's about hip width. Put it on your thighs. You do not have to have this. It just can help you access the groin a bit more, as well as the SI joints for the lower back. You can also, if you know you need more stability in, you can put a block between your legs, one of those brick blocks. I call them hard blocks. Okay, so I'm aligning my ankles with my knees now. Inhale, lifting up. Of course, you can stagger the legs if you prefer. Lifting nice and high. Exhale, stay. You're probably feeling your glute needs. Those little glute muscles work quite a bit now, pressing out. Inhale, lift up on the toes if you can, and lift even higher. And exhale, come down. I'm leaving the hands down to help you press into the feet a bit more. Inhale, lifting up, press into those feet. Press out into the belt. Exhale, stay, relax that press out a bit. Pull up on the pelvic floor, the lower belly, belly button in. Now inhale, lift those toes up and lift the hips up more and press out into the belt. You'll probably feel those little muscles stabilizing the hips quite a bit now. Exhale, place the heels down and roll the spine down. Now, if you want to work harder, you could leave your hips up the whole time. Inhale, lifting up. Press out, exhale, stay. Relax. Inhale, lift up, press out. Up on those toes. Exhale, release, come down. You might be feeling your lower back also working quite a bit now. So this is working the legs, the feet, the hips, and the lower back. Inhale, and opening the chest, of course. Inhale, lifting up. Press out into that belt. Exhale, stay. Inhale, lift up. Exhale,
just bring the heels down and stay here if you can in the pose. I'm going to tuck my shoulders underneath, palms up, or holding the hands, interlocking the fingers to open the chest. I'm going to stay here. As I stay, I'm going to inhale, lift the hips up, and exhale, place the heels down. You do not have to add that, but you can. And when you're ready, coming down. And release that belt. So I created that one to work with lordosis of the back, but what I learned by through my experience of it is that it really works on the hips as well. So you might want to play with that. And just as a counter, we're just going to go side to side. Jatra Parivriti, exhale to one side, inhale center, exhale other side. Just do this in your own timing. Now the feet can be together if you like, or apart, and it's quite different. The arms can be at shoulder height, palms down classically, or they can be lower. And again, the effect is quite different. So just see which one you like better. It's quite different with all those variations. And if you have a bunion, you might want to use an extra mat under your feet because it can be a bit painful on the toes. Or don't go down as far. Exhale, twist, inhale, center. That's the important thing to remember in this. Before we stay, I'm going to get you to do the 5 version of this. So inhale, center, exhale, bring one knee down towards the opposite big toe. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. Try to stretch that knee down to the big toe. The closer your heels are to the buttocks, the more you'll get into the thighs when you do this. Just keep that in mind. If you want to make it easier, bring the feet away from the buttocks. The opposite knee is towards the ceiling. It's getting towards Ekapada Virasana. If you know that pose where your feet are beside your buttocks as you sit between them, do it. Supta, lying down. Ekapada, it's a Supta version rather. Supta Ekapada Virasana. There we go. So this is leading towards that. Wonderful way to get into those thighs and hips. And just finishing up. All right, and we're just going to end with a Panasana. I've been doing various versions with you, but we're going to do a relaxing one. We work pretty hard standing. I'm going to get you to put a block or a pillow underneath the buttocks. The upper edge as high as your lower back. And we're just going to do some rotation here. We're going to go into some hip openers now. So inhale, opening. Exhale, closing to the center and drawing the knees in. Now, I encourage you to do this without the hands. So you're moving with your hips and your pelvic floor more than your arms. Inhale, open, exhale, gather to the center. So you'll feel the strength in your core. and draw in, even if you're doing that on hold after exhale, draw into the center. The block underneath reduces the sway of the lower back and helps you hopefully get more into the hips. Just keep that going. I find this psychologically very soothing when I'm processing something emotional. This connecting to the core and the hips at the same time is very soothing to those two centers, the grounding center, which usually gets thrown when we're emotionally thrown off our center, and soothing those emotions, helping to process them in the body through this lower center of cognition at the gut. Millions of neurons there. When you're ready, go in the other direction. Inhale away and opening the knees. Exhale, start to exhale and draw in. And come to the center. It's very subtle. So I used to always do this with the hands, and I really realized by removing the hands, it was so much deeper. But you can always use the hands. Your hip flexors are taking over the core work. And just finishing up, and perhaps finishing an asanas, downward flow of energy, by hugging the knees. If you've got knee issues, you might want to hold underneath with your hands. Just rest here. Just as a counter for the legs. Inhale, legs up. Exhale, rooting those toes down as far forward as you can. The end of the exhale, drawing in. Inhale, legs up. Legs can be out a bit forward to work a little bit harder. Exhale, tucking those toes down. And draw in at the end of the exhale, hold after exhale. Just that movement. Strengthening the core, strengthening that root. So you have the safety, the container to go into those emotions that might be churning at the gut. Inhale, extend. Exhale, rooting down. And if you like, you can move the other direction. Inhale out, exhale up. And just stay here and breathe. Legs up. Hands can be up. Let's take a break here. You might feel some shaking in those lower two centers at the belly button area, at the pelvic area, and the pelvic floor. So there's three energy centers. Maniparaka, the belly button region, seat of many jewels, all those organs. The center of the nadis. Swadhisthana, the second chakra, the emotional center of the hips. And Muladhara, the root, the pelvic floor area. If you like, bringing your legs back towards your face for a semi-plow position. Stretch the lower back. Hold the feet, the toes, if you like, to get more into the lower back. And when you're ready, release. And Shavasana, relaxation. And if you like, in this relaxation, you could do a hip opener, Supta Baddha Konasana, with blocks underneath the thighs, or you could put a pillow underneath your thighs and open onto that pillow or bolster. There's other versions that you might know. And then when you're ready, just move into full Shavasana, extending the legs. So invite that as a possibility. Just remembering your sankalpa today, your intention, maybe placing your hands in the area of those three lower centers from the belly button down to the pelvic floor through the pubic area of the second chakra. Just remembering your intention. So you breathe into the belly, expand, exhale, draw the belly in. Long exhale. Every 2 exhales, consider adding a second. Stretching your legs out in full Shavasana at some point. Like my feet at the wall parallel to balance my hips. Classically, just let the feet turn out naturally. The inhale can be half the length of the exhale or the same length. And just resting that breath. Just observing the rise and fall of the breath. Noticing anything in your body that might be shifting right now, some flow of energy. Perhaps energy down one of your legs that normally doesn't fire as well as the other one. And when you're ready, moving your hands and feet. And back into your awareness of the body. You can stay just and side child to end with if you like. Or you can come up to a seated position. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Namaskaram.